Jesus often did ministry at the Sea of Galilee, and it was a place where people just naturally gathered. And I would say out of all of Orange County, you have the U.S. Open of Surfing, you have 4th of July, you have the air show, you have all of these events, and people come to Huntington Beach to gather together to be a part of these movements or events or exciting things. And so what better place than Huntington, where we have miles of beaches.
Yes, microchurches are based on the idea that without salaries and buildings and all the other expenses that go with having a building and paid staff, that you can concentrate more just on everybody being involved, so that, you know, in many churches a few people do everything. But in the microchurch, everyone has to have a role and has to play a part, and that frees them up to then missionize. That is, to try to go out and get more people to accept Jesus and to become part of the Christian family.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's kind of a crazy business model. It's a bad business model to build a megachurch. So for every person, say over 200, you multiply how much it costs per person. So like say you go to Costco and you buy like 2 gallons of milk, it costs as much as 1 gallon of milk because you're buying it in bulk. But when it comes to a church, the more people you add, say it costs $10 per person at 100, at 200 it's going to cost $25, $30 a person. So keeping them in that building, only using it 10% of the week, and all the rest of it, we thought if you could get rid of all that overhead and all that stuff holding it back, then you could have rapid expansion of the movement and, you know, the word spreading of the gospel of the kingdom.
And it's also based on the idea of something called the priesthood of believers. One of the big hallmarks of the Protestant Reformation was the idea that priests were no longer necessary because everybody was a priest. And that's based on some teaching in the Bible, New Testament in particular. And so they all consider themselves kind of sort of ministers. So everybody can be a minister, everybody can reach out and spread the word. And it's just simpler to do it when you just have a group of 25 or 30 people and not 300 people. That's the basic idea.
What you're taking part in right now is something so much bigger than I think a lot of us really realize.
So in North America, we're starting to see it come back, especially with millennials, because the generation before us really believed that if you were a large institution, that gave you credence, that gave you permanence, and gave you a voice in somebody's life. But with millennials, when they see a big institution or organization, they immediately don't trust it.
One of the things we noticed about Orange County in particular is that people kind of have a consumer mentality just in general about everything. So they're kind of shopping around and wanting to find the best thing that fits them. That kind of mentality just won't thrive in salt churches because the environment really requires for you to really give up of yourself, to live sacrificially, to love one another and help one another, give up of your time, of your resources.
The way that you really get community, and we take this from the battlefield really, is the closest people on planet Earth are men that have fought side by side with each other and are willing to sacrifice for each other. And the best way to build community is not to build community. The best way to build community is to focus on a mission. So mission is seeing the world saved through Jesus Christ, so seeing individuals' lives transformed and changed, and seeing them taught the way to live through the master of life, who is Jesus.
So it's been really cool to just honestly watch people just come alive, but before that happens, they have to kind of make the decision about why they even want to be a part of a church.
It totally just shifts and humbles you of being like, whoa. I'm not just here because now I get to celebrate with other believers, but I'm truly alive because of him, because of what he did for us. And
I joined and wanted to be a part of these micro churches, not because I had any sort of issue with mega churches, but more so I just believed in the vision and kind of what we were trying to, what we believed God was calling us to and what it meant to be a church. And so we felt like micro churches, we were able to really create not just community for community sense, but to really build up believers. That the church isn't just a building where you try and gather as many people as you can, but that it's actually knowing like the people that are in your body and equipping them to do the work of God.
I think also a lot of people just don't like the idea of a big church. People are just not comfortable in the surroundings of a large organization, a large church. And so the small church maybe makes people more comfortable to come and visit, and it's more personal. Big churches can be very impersonal. So I think it's kind of a niche deal. It's not going to appeal to everybody, but it's going to appeal to one small segment of people who just are turned off by more formal religion, by bigger churches, and by the trappings of that, especially if they've come from a large church and kind of had some bad experiences. Here is a new situation where it's kind of like a little club, and yet a club with a purpose. It is spread the message about Christ and expand the church, but do it in this little kind of small format.